Let's talk a little UNLV football as Adrian Mayes, tight ends coach, another one of the new staffers under Dan Mullen, joins Cofield Company. Alex White is here. It's Cofield. Coach, how are you? Sorry for the delay in getting you on.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good deal, good deal. So what do you think of Vegas so far?
Vegas is unbelievable. Actually, I got married here in 2010 in Mandalay Bay, so I'm very familiar with Las Vegas, and the weather's great. Guys are working hard, so it's been fabulous being here.
I love the ties on the staff. First of all, I'm approaching 55, Coach. I'm not married. I've never been married. If I get married, I guess I have to get married in Vegas. We had Adam Shire on the other day, and he actually going way back. He said he loves Vegas. He and his wife love Vegas. They always wanted to be here because they got married in Vegas.
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
It's crazy. All right. Well, you are making an adjustment, and I definitely want to get into your Texas background. I know you're coming from Tulsa. So first of all, tell us and tell the audience why Dan Mullen, why UNLV.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Coach Mullen has a track record of having some of the best offenses in all of football. So that was a big factor in the reason why to Las Vegas. And then just the city itself. I mean, it's pretty much the sports capital of the world. It's you got a lot of talented athletes here in Las Vegas, so recruiting is very attractive for high school kids and transfers to come to. So those are big factors in why I think UNLV football is on the rise.
I thought you guys had a really interesting weekend, especially since you did stuff with the players and then you put it up on social media. I don't think people realize, especially kids, what is here in Vegas in terms of entertainment options. And I saw several of the players popped up along with Mullen at the Golden Knights game. Then there were front row seats at a UFC event. I mean, how cool is that to pitch to potential recruits? Like, hey, you're in the center of the universe in terms of sports, and you may actually get to go to some of the games and the events.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is unbelievable in the fact that the kids have a different experience than, going to other colleges. You get to do a lot more things and a variety of things that are all surrounded in Las Vegas. I mean, you can go skiing. Somebody told me you can find a lake, and do all those things and shows and all sorts of things. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big deal in recruiting. It's a big deal for our players. And it's a big incentive to do the right things.
So your resume is really interesting. We're talking to Adrian Mayes, the tight ends coach, with the Rebels, with Dan Mullen, and we'll get to the tight end room, which was empty and then suddenly filled up with a lot of bodies. Going back in your background, first of all, what was the Tulsa experience like? And were you around Corey Dennis last year there?
Yeah. Yes, we were. We worked hand in hand together, and at University of Tulsa last year, he was the coordinator, and so I'm very familiar with him. And we battled it out there and had the opportunity to come here to Vegas.
What do you think his offense or / Mullen's offense is going to be like?
I think it'll be exciting. I think we're going to run the ball. We're going to take shots. We're going to have some quarterback run game sprinkled in there. We're going to get guys in space, get the athletes the ball that need to have the ball in space, and it'll be exciting offense.
When I was looking at the resume again, looking at a couple of points, what are the NFL internships? What are those involved? Because it wasn't like one where, you were just coming out of school or something. You served one actually in the 2020. So what are those internships like, and what benefit do you get?
Yeah, so the first one I ever did was with the New York Jets, and it was actually with their assistant head coach, Anthony Lynn, who ended up being the head coach of the Chargers, and he's a coordinator. He's been a coordinator and all those good things. It was actually an opportunity. One, he invited me up there. He wanted to learn a little bit of the triple option that we were running at the time. And then also for me, just to learn a little bit more West Coast offense and how they operated in the NFL. So I got to work hand in hand with him. And then later in my career, I did 2 internships with the Chargers, and that was specifically with the tight ends. And they invited me up there to work with their tight ends blocking and help me in the some different drills and things of that I've implemented in college and coaching tight end position.
Small world, that's all binded together. Anthony Lynn, of course, went to Texas Tech, played in the NFL, finished his degree off actually at UNLV.
Wow, I didn't see that. Was one thing I did not know.
There you go, right? And I'm a big fan of Anthony Lynn and the character that dude has, and I thought he did a pretty good job, not only as a position coach around the league, but as the head coach of the Chargers. So let's talk about this room. Fill me in on the timing of when you're hired, and then how many kids were in the room, and how involved you are in filling up the room with new recruits.
Sure. So when I got hired, Jay Beasley was coming back from the last year's team, and Nick Elksness was just signed with Coach Mullen. So he was already signed. Coach Mullen signed him. And so when I got in, I just gave those guys a call. And then there's two walk-ons, Jacob Pizza and Cooper Haswell. They were on last year's team as well, coming back. So I had four guys in the room and got the chance to go sign three more guys, one from junior college and two out of the transfer portal.
They're all a little bit different, aren't they, though, in terms of their backgrounds? Let's talk about the portal first. I mean, you have a familiarity with, I would assume, with Gums, right?
Yes, with Varkey's Gums. I actually recruited him out of high school at North Texas. He was a freshman All-American. He set the school record for tight ends receptions and yards as a redshirt freshman at North Texas for me. So there was a lot of familiarity there. I knew his high school coach. He had gotten in the portal and gave me a call and said, would I be interested? And of course, it was pretty much history there. I mean, you watch his film. He's so athletic. He'll fit in exactly what Coach Mullen wants with our tight ends, and we'll be able to find different ways to get him the ball.
We're talking tight ends. As Adrian Mayes, tight ends coach from UNLV, is up with Cofield and Company. So Gums is one of the pass catchers. It's funny when you guys were pulling in all these commits and the numbers got to like 7 or 8, people were like, how many tight ends do they need? And it's like, tight end has to be a versatile position, right? Obviously, you have the pass catchers. You'd like the guys who are complete, and blockers, but you also need power guys too, right?
Absolutely. And so in filling out the room, then I go get Veltre Jefferson out of Fresno City College. He's a big body, athletic kid that can do it all, and he just needs a little bit more development as we go through spring and summer. I really, really, really high on his athletic ability and what he can be. He is very, very, very talented, and he's a big, strong guy. I think he's up to 260 pounds right now, and he's 6'4", 6'5". And then we signed a trustworthy Matt Burns, who's played a lot of football, played a lot of snaps at Houston. Got to know him through I've worked at University of Houston, knew some of those coaches, made some calls over there. They're pretty high on him, and his film showed it. And he's a very smart football player that's a really good pass catcher, great route runner. Not the same speed as Varkey's, but he'll be able to do a lot of things in the pass game and block as well.
Can we build on Jefferson a little bit? Because I found his story fascinating. Listen, I don't know a whole lot about it. I know he's bounced around a bunch. I also know I think I watched him playing some quarterback at times, but looking super athletic, going like all the way back to high school at Edison in Fresno. When you get guys like that, and there are a lot of dudes around college football who sometimes maybe don't land in the right spot for literally 6 years. Why him? Like, what did you see in him where you're like, you know what? We have something here. Maybe we can get it out of him. Let's take that chance.
Yeah, when you hear his background, he was at Fresno. He had some things happen back home that sent him home a little early. As far as just, he wanted to be around his family and that sort of thing. He's got a wife and he's got a son, so he's older now. And I think, for him, he's grown up. He is such a hard worker and a smart kid. And honestly, just watching his film and watching his movement skills, I thought, and Coach Mullen as well, we thought, let's take a chance on him, see what we can get out of him. And honestly, he's been a big bright spot for us. Great program kid. He's done everything we've asked. He is working his tail off. And honestly, we expect a lot of big things out of him. And
we'll come full circle because Beasley was one of the first guys you mentioned. He's a local. he's one of the guys that signaled to me a couple of years ago that what Odom was building was kind of special in terms of the size and the program needed to get bigger. And him and Charles Correa were both locals, and I saw him at the spring game last year, and I'm like, these guys just look kind of different than some of the players they've been bringing in the past. There's just like a thickness to the trunk. You know what I mean? Like there's something to build on where you're not trying to get a guy up from 220 pounds to play tight end.
Yeah, and like the old adage, mass wins. So we want big, strong guys. I mean, Varkey's is a 6'3.5", 250-pound kid, and we don't ask, we're going to recruit high school kids, but we're going to find the ones that may be a little undersized, but they have the frame to gain weight, and we're going to put that on them with our strength program. Jay Beasley is a good-looking kid. He is right around 6'2", 230 right now. He runs extremely well. He's got great vertical speed. He's got great hands. He's a great blocker, and he's really intelligent. So we'd like to use him and utilize him all over the field.
Coach, great job. We appreciate the time, and we'll see you out soon at spring practice when it begins.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
There he is. Adrian Mayes, one of the new coaches on the UNLV staff. He is the tight ends coach. You got a pretty loaded room with some projects, some pure blockers, a lot of size in the tight end room as well. And gone are the days where, and it's not a knock against guys because you don't always have to have their measurables, but there'd be times when there were tight ends who were 6'1" and 240, and most of the guys now are 6'2" to 6'6".